Okay, we're hearing the Seas here on October 22nd. This is part 2 of the tape here at UCLA, where it's a beautiful day. We're about to hear from Liz, who's going to share with us 3 emotions that she felt when seeing her film.
Hi everyone, I'm Liz.
Hi Liz.
So have you all ever had a film that'll make you jump out of your seat, cry, and laugh at the same time? A film that right after it finished, all you could do is stare into blank space because you're just in awe? Well, that was me with the Christopher Nolan film Inception. Inception is one of my most favorite films, and as Dan Feldman, the president of domestic distribution at Warner Brothers, said, being original and fresh and different matters in this marketplace. And this movie had all of those things. And I definitely agree. Inception ran as a #1 office box seller in 2010, 2 weekends in a row. This movie is honestly a masterpiece that many critics actually have said it's a masterpiece, and I agree definitely with that. It's a masterpiece that has evoked feelings of indecision, nostalgia, and excitement within me. So this film made me feel excited when all this film, it's explosion, it's guns, it's adventure, it's being spontaneous and going on adventures that weren't really planned, and that's something that like really excited me, and it actually made me remember when I was living 2 summers ago in Paris. Me and my friend, we took like 11 p.m. bus to Brussels, Belgium, like out of nowhere. We ended up arriving there at 4 a.m. It was the best thing ever. It was like dark. We searched up one of the best. We wanted to like get a really good sunrise, so we like walked all over the city for like an hour and a half. We found this abandoned temple with the view. It was an amazing view. It was like so exciting. It's like something that I've never seen in my life, and it's something that we wouldn't have found if we wouldn't just have like walked around and like been spontaneous, and like the excitement like rushing through like our veins, just like walking through like all of Brussels. It was like really extremely amazing, and it even like the film even made me remember in this same day when we kept on walking and like exploring. And I don't know if y'all have heard about Stromae. He's like a Belgique French singer. So we actually ended up in the metro station where he filmed his Formidable music video, and out of nowhere, like we just recognized it right away, and like we were extremely excited, and it was just like one of the best weekends ever. And like this movie really made me remember that, and I don't know, it just like so many excitement and like emotions, and it was amazing. And then another emotion that this film reminded me of, or like it made me feel nostalgic. First of all, because Cobb, played by Leonardo DiCaprio in the film, he has a lot of like memories. He has a lot of attachments and ties back to his family and to his wife that he can never let go. And he has all these happy feelings, and like he never learns how to like let go of it, and like is just like in his subconscious, always present. And it like just made me remember about like when I was 8 years old, and like we used to have a lot of family dinners, a lot of family vacations, and like fishing trips. And then my parents divorced, so it made me remember about like fishing trips that I would take with my dad when we were all like a family. I would catch fish, and my dad, I remember him being all proud, and he would give me a hug, and I would just like feel like his acceptance. And then right after my parents divorced, like I lost like contact with my dad, and then I mostly lived with my mom. So it just brought back those feelings of nostalgia when we used to like all be a family and like be happy and like be together. But it brought back the happy memories, not really the period where we separated. So that was like really important for me. The final feeling that this film evoked in me was indecision. It made, at every point of my period in life, we're all indecisive in something, and it made me remember, well, not remember, but actually made me realize the current period that I am in my life right now of being indecisive, like what am I going to do with my future. I've been here at UCLA for 2 years. I have 2 years left to go. I feel like my life is like ending right after like right after undergrad. Is like, what am I going to do when I graduate? Do I want to go into international affairs? Do I want to do public affairs? Do I want to do business? Do I want to do marketing, PR? Like, you know, it's extremely hard to like know what I want to do. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So, like, this film evoked emotions in me of nostalgia, indecision, and excitement, and it's all three very different, powerful feelings that all occurred while me watching this film. And this is like one of my favorite films, and it's extremely important, and everyone in here should get to watch it. And with that, I leave you all with a quote that I think really resonated to Cobb, Leonardo DiCaprio in the film, his character, and to me in my current period in life. And it's, I have come to accept the feeling of not knowing where I'm going. And I have trained myself to love it. Because it is not only when we are suspended in mid-air and no landing in sight that we force our wings to unravel and at last begin our flight. And as we fly, we still may not know where we are going, but the miracle is in the unfolding of the wings. You may not know where you're going, but you know what, that so long as you spread your wings, the wind will carry you.
Thank you. 511.
I really like your speech. And,
Thank you for waiting respectfully at the door.
Inspection is one of my favorite films as well. I really love the film, and I really love the flow of your speech, and also how your quote at the end tied back to your love story.
Thoughtful quote at the end, wasn't it? Improvement.
Hi, Zoe.
Hi, Zoe.
I really liked your speech. I liked how candid you were. It didn't sound rehearsed. But with that being said, I think you could probably work on saying like and maybe slow down the pace of it a bit. Maybe more fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Liz, were you aware you say like and a lot? Take a step back, please. There you go. Good. Did you practice with people?
Yeah, but I guess it didn't work.
Have them raise their hand when you say like or and you will become aware of how often you do it and get out of the habit of it. Well, you started with a rhetorical question. So that's okay. Not a great grabber, but it's sort of involving if it's a good rhetorical question. Went right into the quote from Dan Fellman, who's distributing the film. Inception, I think most people thought it was a pretty great film that have seen it. And you told us that you were going to share with us the feeling of excitement, and nostalgia, and indecision, and those were your three emotions. I would have liked to have had, before you got to that little significant statement of saying, I know you'll all enjoy hearing about this film because it's, very original, and if you haven't seen it, you should go see it, or something like that. So, and it helps when you're doing your outline, if you put in all 7 parts, then you're not likely to forget one of the things. So let's talk about the most important thing in your speech, your effort to communicate the emotions. Now here, on excitement, I felt you did the best job of communicating the excitement. I really got the idea that you were very spontaneous and you hopped on a bus in gay Paris and went to Brussels and had a ball, and I could feel your excitement, and I could feel you reliving the excitement and re-feeling the emotions, and going to the temple and the sunrise and the music video from your favorite singer, etc. So that was well communicated. Just remember to say the emotion at the end, and so that's why I was so excited. Besides being excited, though, I felt nostalgic. The narrative voice. Well, let's talk about your narrative voice on your nostalgia. Good here. You gave us a little plot summary, and then you talked about the fact that you had a good time with your parents until you turned 10 and they got a divorce. And at that point, then you lived with your mother and didn't see your father much anymore. And then you found yourself going back, not to the sadness that you felt in not seeing your father, but the happiness of catching the fish and that sort of thing. And then and that's why I felt nostalgic. But that was well communicated, nostalgic story and event. So that went pretty well. On indecision as an emotion, I guess that's an emotion. Where you're this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that. And I guess you communicated that pretty well. You just didn't know what the heck you're going to do. And again, return to the emotion you're communicating, and that's why I felt such indecision. Your summary and conclusion, and I really like your ending quote, and I like the fact that you got this within time. That would have been a tough quote to memorize, but it would have been much more effective if you had. But it was a really good quote with the idea of just trusting life and trusting the flow of life. Shakespeare had a similar quote where he said, "There's a tide in the affairs of man when taken at the gate, leads on to fortune if you learn to go with the flow." You know, and this idea of trusting the wind to carry you is was a nice thought. So you did a nice job and you were within time. Let's look at your kanais. No ums or likes. Do more with my hands. Loosen my arms and my hands. How'd it go?
So I definitely failed on the first one. Yeah, I felt like I didn't have my hands like I did last time.
Yes.
In front of me the whole time.
Right.
So, or behind my back. So that was better.
Good. So you're learning to let your hands be more natural. Maybe Tai Chi would help you. Yeah. Okay, you did a nice job, Liz. Just I think the comments that your student colleagues made are also ones you should take to heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that will bring us to the one, the only, Lauren. There's the Lauren. Come in, come in. No Lauren?
I don't think they
No Lauren. Okay, good. That's cool. Lauren Bacall. Okay, good. Michelle. Your sweatshirt doesn't fit, so either take it off or roll your sleeves up above your elbow so we can see your hands gesturing. Yeah, that's better.
She's like, no, I need something.
That's better. Okay, good. Okay, good. Michelle stands before you managing attention, communicating respect non-verbally, saying to herself, I respect my audience, finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi everyone, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Who is your hero? A lot of people, when they get asked this question, say a parent, a friend, or someone who excels in their profession. One thing that's common between all these answers are that they're human. But a hero can be something else, like a dog. So today I want to introduce you all to a movie that really moved me. It's called Hachi, A Dog's Tale, about a dog named Hachi and his owner Parker. Here's what Alyssa Simon from Variety magazine had to say about the movie. Aloya Kira demonstrates the meaning of unconditional love in Lance Hallstrom's simple, tear-jerking movie. I completely agree with this movie because it will really emotionally connect to anyone who loves their pet or lost someone that they love. This movie has moved me in a way that made me nostalgic for my cat, loved by my boyfriend, and depressed about my mother's passing. So the first way that this movie made me feel was that it made me feel nostalgic for my cat. The incident in the movie that made me feel nostalgic was when Parker desperately tries to teach the dog Hachi to play fetch, but he refuses, although he's more than willing to be a walking buddy. So this incident made me feel nostalgic because me and my brother had adopted a cat 2 years ago, and I was so excited just to have a pet for the first time, just play with them. I bought a bunch of toys, but Simba, the cat's name, completely rejected all of them, which is total bummer, waste of money. But he was more than happy to be a good company. He would always snuggle to me, ask to be petted, wait for me at the door. So what he lacked in playfulness, he always made up in affection. And that made me nostalgic because now he's not here since he's over in Connecticut with my brother. So I don't really get to have that warm, cuddly cat next to me all the time. So the second way that this movie moved me was that it made me feel loved. The incident that it made me feel loved was when Hachi would always walk to the train station with Parker every day and return that same evening to greet him. This incident made me feel loved because it reminded me of when me and my boyfriend first started dating. You're kind of in that like honeymoon phase where you're always together, so we would almost every day we would just meet up to go to class or to eat at the dorms, and then he'll walk me back. And I remember one night that he was walking me back, and then we kind of just spent like 4 or 5 hours talking at night outside. And that memory really stood out to me because it made me so happy to have someone who understands me and who I can just talk to about anything. And his constant companionship made me feel loved because I knew there would be someone who would be there for me no matter how my day went. Kind of like how Hachi would be there no matter how bad Parker's day was when he came back from the train. So the last way that this movie made me feel was that it made me feel depressed. The incident in the film that made me feel depressed was when Hachi refused his new family and continued to wait at the same spot at the train station at night for Parker for 10 years, even though Parker would never return. So this incident made me depressed because it reminded me of when my mom died when I was 8. So when she was healthy, I used to always wake up around like 5 in the morning just to talk to her while she prepared to go to work, and then I'll go to sleep once she left. So I continued to do this even though she was sick, and then by the time she passed away, my body would automatically wake up just because I'm so used to that. And initially I just kept doing that because you can't really force yourself to go back to sleep. And I would get up, go to the living room, even though I knew there wasn't going to be someone there to just talk to me. And after I guess a couple of weeks, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. So then kept trying to force myself to sleep, stay in the bed, and after a few weeks, it was okay. So Hachi's unconditional love for Parker resonated with me because I also lost someone who was very significant in my life, and I had felt very devastated. So in summary, I have told you 3 emotions that this film has invoked in me. It made me feel nostalgic for my cat. It made me feel loved by my boyfriend. Also made me feel depressed about my mother's passing. Hachi, A Dog's Tale is a very simple movie about the relationship between a dog and his owner. But it really touches on love in a very different way than what we expect from other movies, where it's always like human to human. And the fact that this movie is actually based on a true story, and there's a statue of him, Hachi, in Japan, where the true thing happened, this kind of shows you how love is so powerful, whether it be human to human or human to animal. So I'm sure you can all tell that this movie really moved me. So I want to end this speech by saying the very last 3 sentences in the movie that kind of goes to show that a hero can be anyone or anything. So here, these are the sentences. Parker and Hachi taught me what it means to be loyal. That you should never forget anyone that you love. That is why Hachi will always be my hero.
Thank you. 5:37. Hi, Amy.
I thought your speech was very moving, and it was candid in the way that it was very relatable, and it was rehearsed, but it wasn't rehearsed at the same time in the sense that you were telling it really from your heart, even though obviously you had planned out what you were going to say. It came from a strong emotion and not as though you were just memorizing in your head and going through points, which I really like.
Thank you, Amy. Improvement?
I'm not.
Hi, Dot.
I really enjoyed your speech. There's probably not really much I can say on it except probably project your voice a little bit louder. That's probably
Yeah.
what I can say.
Okay, thank you, Dot. Well, gosh, Michelle, this was a good speech. You start with a rhetorical question, which is not my favorite way to start a speech. It's not a great grabber. If you're going to start with a rhetorical question, pause for a moment and give people a moment to think about it. Who is your hero? B. Give people a moment to say, oh, yeah, that's who my hero is. And then say, is it your parent, your friend? Say, so give everyone another little moment. Or it can even be a dog. And you have a really nice transition to your thesis. And your review was good. And your preview was fine. Your first emotion was nostalgic. And you shared with us the cat that you came to love and then were separated from, and that you shared with us your feeling of missing the cat, and you felt nostalgic when you saw this movie, and it reminded you of a relationship that you had that you don't have now. So that was good. That was well done. On the second feeling, I got the straw when you were trying to communicate love, and I think that you gave us a good working definition of love when you said, after all, how does love manifest itself? It's not just physical, but it's paying attention to someone, to listening, and spending a lot of time listening, and you felt very loved by your boyfriend, and that was communicated well. So that was done nicely. On your third story about losing your mother when you were 8, that was your most touching story. You called it depressed. And my only suggestion is I would have interjected you when you watch yourself tonight on YouTube. You'll see that you got away from that word a little and got into some other realms. And I would have just said, I go to a room every morning. I was getting more and more depressed. I get up at 5 a.m. I came back to sleep. I was getting depressed. So we really got the feeling of, Jesus, the habit of it all and how much you missed her and that sort of thing was, but still it was a very powerful story and very well done. Your summary was fine, your conclusion was fine, and your tieback was fine. You just went over a little bit is all. I liked your ending story, your ending quote. Your canais were to work on my timing, stay within 5:15, which you did not. Be more confident and prepared. Make the speech flow better, no unnecessary pauses, stuttering, or ums. How'd it go?
Well, the timing I definitely work on. In terms of confidence, I don't know how I looked, but I was definitely very, very nervous. I feel like I might have been more nervous than my other 2 speeches. In terms of flow, I don't think I really struggled on ums and likes and stuttering, so I think I improved on that.
That's better, yes. And with this confidence, you need to fake it till you make it, and just come walking up and say, hey, I've got this down, I'm going to do this, and do it. And it will get better each time you do it, but you did a very nice job. Thank you. Are there any more C's? No more C's. All right, the B's that were present Tuesday may do their speeches. Now you need my green meanie. Okay. No. Yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Siri.
Hi, Siri.
Today I want to share with you guys my favorite movie. It's called A Kingsman Secret Service. So I would like to start my speech with a quote from a poem. Remember the dream we had, where there was nothing else. Remember the dream is yours, so let it guide you. Hold on tight and don't let it go. So the movie really moved me in three ways. The movie really made me sad, and it made me proud, and it also made me feel the value of courage. So the Marona Dargis once mentioned in New York Times that about the director of the movie, Matthew Vaughn. His real talent is for delivering violence with a shrug and a smile. I agree with him. So the first thing that really made me sad is when the main character, Axie, lost his father when he was 4 years old. So his father is working for Kingsman. Kingsman is an independent international intelligence agency, and his father died for a complete a mission in Middle East for Kingsman. And his mother is too sad to accept the death of his husband, and his mother married an abusive man. So Axie's happy family life ended at the year of 4. This reminds me of my father's childhood. Back in 1974, the Cultural Revolution happened in China. The Cultural Revolution is a political movement held by the president of Chairman Mao at that time. He held this movement in order to preserve the ideology of Communist Party by purging the nationalism and capitalism. Unfortunately, my grandmother is the daughter of a general from a national party, so every property and asset were removed by the Communist Party at that time. So my father's happy family life ended as well. Because the family was too poor at that time, my father dropped out of elementary school and worked with grandfather to support the whole family. When my father's happy family life ended at 8 years old, I feel the same sadness as Axie. And the second feeling the movie made me feel very proud. Is Axie when chosen by the agent called Harry and well trained as an agent and gain unbelievable success at the end of the film. This reminds me of my father's adulthood. Even though my father dropped out of elementary school, but he didn't forget his dream to become a very successful architect. So he borrowed books about architecture from local library, and also he worked as a part-time job for a local constructor. So at the age of 21, a distant relative visited my grandparents' home, and he saw my father's intelligence and capability and decided to hire my father as an apprentice in his firm. So afterwards, my father worked really hard, like 55 hours per week, and also rotating every single department at his firm. So 20 years later, at least 5 commercial buildings and 3 residential complexes were built and designed by my father. I'm really proud of my father, and later on, he enrolled in Tsinghua University, which is a very top university in China, and got an MBA degree. I feel the same proudly as Axie at the end of the film. The last feeling I feel about this movie is the value of courage. It's at the final round of the interview, Axie was asked to shoot his dog, which kept company with him at the first round of the interview. Everyone was expect Axie to shoot the dog and get the agent title, but Axie did not. Axie loved his dog so much, he's willing to give up the title of the agent. This reminds me of my own experience, that under the pressure of the environment and you want to persist on your own value. This happened to me when I was going to make a decision between staying in China to go for college or study abroad. 3 years ago back in China, most of Chinese students, if they choose to study abroad, they will be considered as a bad grade student who wants to escape the college entry exam, which is very competitive in China, and study for the SAT. But Under the pressure of being judged as a bad grade student and kind of unresponsible student, I choose for study for SAT. And I think jumping out of the judgment and challenging the stereotype of my parents and of my teachers, I really feel the value of courage, and I'm still proud of my decision to study abroad at this time. So I think this movie really made me feel sad, and also made me feel proud, and also made me feel the value of courage in my lifetime. And it made me feel sad when you don't have your happy family life, but it made me also feel very proud when you consist on your dream, even though in a very undesirable environment. And it also made me feel the value of courage when you are willing to challenge the authority in your life. So I would like to end my speech with a quote from the same poem. To succeed, find something to hold on to, something to motivate you, and something to inspire you. Dreams still come true. Thank you.
544.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
I really enjoyed your speech. I think your stories really support your three emotions well. And it was really interesting that you not only talk about your own story, but you actually related your emotions with your father's life history, so that was interesting.
Yes. Improvement?
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
I like your speech, and I really like your stories, but I think it would have been more impactful if you use your own stories rather than your dad's.
Right. Siri, first off, don't wear white when you're going to speak because you blend with the white background, okay? You did the film Kingsman, and you read a poem. Say where the poem came from. Hopi Anderson, who is that, and tell us why this is a good poet or where it came from, who wrote it, that sort of thing. Your thesis preview was fine. Your sixth statement was good. On your main body, and this is the reason you went overtime, is you had too long of a plot summary. As I've been saying to many students, one sentence will do it. We didn't need to know all about the mother, the bad, the sad, the death. Just one sentence. You told us about the tough time your father had under the communists, and that it sounded just god-awful, and I'm really sorry for that. But what I didn't get from that was how you felt, and a story about you, and it would have been more powerful if this had reminded you of some time that you have been made to feel sad, something that you had lost or something. Okay, and so I agree with Michelle. On the second story, the same thing. I think you should be very proud of your father, the way he, it's never too late to start all over again, which he had to do because of the communists. And he worked his way up and became a great architect and built all these great buildings. And that was a wonderful story, but not about you and your feelings. The closest we got to it was on the third one, which you told us that you took courage to buck the system and study the SAT. And I would have had you focused more on why that took courage. We heard from another one of your colleagues how she had to hide the papers and stuff like that. The summary was fine, the conclusion was fine, and the tieback was fine. Remember to move 3 times. You said more lively communication with my audience. Don't just remember the script. Walk a bit. How'd it go?
I think the first 2 did good, but the last one still need to work on a little bit.
Okay. And work on re-feeling emotions, because the purpose of this assignment was learning to make an emotional connection with your audience by feeling things that you felt before and then sharing that you felt sad, that you felt happy, and we feel it too. Okay? Thank you. Okay, we're out of time. We're done for the day.
I was a B2 and I still haven't been able to do it. 'Cause
Were you here too?
yeah, I was here,
Okay, what's your name?
Joanna Martin. But like we ran out of time on
Oh yeah,
Tuesday.
okay, I'll mark you as we'll get to you on
Next
Tuesday, yeah. Are you a B?
I'm an A.
Oh, you still haven't been able to? Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna cry.
I just want to get
Your film's gonna be perfect. You're benefiting from all this criticism.
I actually,
know it
surprisingly
perfectly.
enough, I will say I did quite a few of the things. I did realize one thing today that I missed.
Okay,
But I
good.
really want to get
What's your last name?
Martin. It's in the next.
Martine.
Yeah, she wrote it.
Oh, we wrote it in?
Yeah.
Let's write it in again. Martine.
Or can I be a D?
No, what's you're a B, right?
Joanna. Jobana.
Was there a sign-in sheet today?
Yeah, were you late?
Wait.
I just don't think I was fast enough.
Actually, there were.
He made it right before the first speech.
Actually, okay. I was
Roshi pass to everyone, like every time. So someone like last class, I just didn't find the Roshi. I gotta look
What
around.
a tragedy.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I don't get the sheet, but...
Yeah, some